You must have heard about the Startup India initiative of the Government of India. In today's video, I will discuss the Startup India scheme. Startup India is a flagship program of the Indian government, introduced back in January 2016. It aims to create a robust ecosystem for nurturing startups and their innovative products in order to achieve long-term economic growth and large-scale employment in India. The primary objective of this scheme is to provide a number of legal, tax and funding benefits to startups and reduce their cost of compliance so that the startups can focus on the growth and expansion of their business in the initial stages of their establishment. Let's discuss the benefits of this scheme. When you are running a business, it requires almost all the attention and resources. We know it might be too time consuming for you at times. Don't worry, we have listed all the benefits of this Startup India scheme that would make running a business a smoother experience for you. Here is a short snapshot of the benefits of the Startup India scheme. Important benefits under Startup India scheme. 50% rebate in government fees for trademark and patent filing. Self-certification for 6 labor and 3 environment law compliance. For government tenders, startups are exempted from EMD, prior experience and turnover criteria. Get listed in the GEM, Government e-Procurement portal. Avail easy funding from Startup Fund of Funds. Angel tax exemption under Section 56 of Income Tax Act. May avail tax exemption under Section 80 IAC of the Income Tax Act. Important note about the tax benefit under the Startup India scheme. The basic DPIIT recognition does not confer tax benefit under Section 80 IAC. After the basic startup recognition is obtained, you may avail of our services for making appropriate applications for tax benefits under Section 80 IAC. Startup India registration eligibility. The eligibility conditions for businesses to be qualified for Startup India registration have been mentioned in the Gazette notification issued by the DPIIT on the 19th of February 2019. The conditions have been drawn on the basis of the date of incorporation, types of businesses, turnover limits, nature and outcome of business activities. A list of all such eligibility conditions has been mentioned below. Eligibility conditions for Startup India registration. Date of incorporation. Businesses must not be older than 10 years from the date of their incorporation in order to be qualified as startups. Types of businesses. Businesses that qualify as startups include a registered partnership firm, an LLP and a private limited company. Note that an unincorporated entity is not eligible for Startup India registration. Turnover of business. The turnover of the business qualified as a startup must not have exceeded rupees 10 crores in any of the financial years since its incorporation. Nature of business activity. The startup should be focused on improving existing products and services through invention and innovation. Outcome of business activity. The startup should increase employment opportunities in India exponentially. Additionally, it must also contribute to the growth and development of the Indian economy. Original entity. The business qualified as startup must be original and not formed by splitting up or reconstructing an existing business. The following type of businesses are not eligible for the Startup India scheme. Number 1, sole proprietorship. Number 2, firm constituted by the notary partnership deed. Number 3, once annual turnover exceeds INR 100 crores. Number 4, the company is older than 10 years. Process of startup registration. So far, we have briefly understood the benefits and the eligibility for the Startup India scheme. A recognition as startup by the Department of Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade DPIIT is necessary to avail the benefits under Startup India scheme. For this purpose, an online application must be submitted on the Startup India portal. along with the list of supporting documents uploaded in the digital format. Given below is a stepwise procedure for startup recognition and startup registration in India. Step number 1. Incorporate your startup. As we have already mentioned above, an unincorporated business entity cannot qualify for Startup India registration. The types of businesses that qualify as startups include a registered partnership firm, a limited liability partnership, and a private limited company. Note that since a one-person company is also incorporated as a private limited company, it also stands eligible for Startup India registration. Step number 2. Register on the Startup India portal. To obtain Startup India registration, you shall first register your startup on the Startup India portal. For this purpose, you shall have to furnish the contact details of your startup, including the mobile number and the email ID, along with the name of the startup. The contact details shall be verified by an OTP sent to the email address and the mobile number. After a successful registration, you shall receive a login ID and password on your email address. Step number 3. Log in on the Startup India portal. Use the login credentials sent to your email to log in on the Startup India portal. An application form shall appear on the screen which must be filled out and submitted for a successful startup registration. Step number 4. Fill out the profile details of startup on DPIIT. To fill out the application for startup registration, you are required to first select the stage in which your startup currently is. The given options for status of your startup includes ideation, when the idea of the startup has been formulated; validation, where the minimum value product has been introduced in the market; early traction, where the startup has just started earning revenues and gaining customers; and scaling, where the startup has planned to scale up its operations. You shall have to fill in other basic details about the business, its members, business plan, funding, and the proposed business activities. After filling out all the details and attaching the required documents with the application, you can submit the same on the Startup India portal. Getting on to step number 5. File application for DPIIT recognition as startup. The next step is to make an application for recognition as a startup on the portal. For DPIIT recognition of your startup, some self-attested documents by the authorized startup representative are to be filed in digital format. The filers are advised to properly scan the documents to avoid rejection on the application by the DPIIT. Incorporation or registration certificate, director details, patent and trademark details, PAN, authorization letter, Aadhaar of the authorized signatory. Step number 6. Obtain certificate of recognition. After you submit the application for DPIIT recognition to the DPIIT, it shall issue a certificate of recognition to your startup as conclusive proof that it has been recognized as a startup business by the Government of India. And this is it for this video. If you are interested to know more about the Startup India scheme and avail our assistance for consultation to obtain the recognition as startup from DPIIT, please visit our website on the link provided in the description. Our consultation is free for startups and small businesses. If you found this video helpful, please don't forget to like it, share it, and you can leave your comments down below. Also, don't forget to turn the notification bell on so you get notified every time we post a new video. Thank you for watching. Check out our other videos as well.